Thank you, Donald. So my first one is to you, Ralph, and it refers to the March change letter. Okay, thank you. It refers to the March change letter where you stated, we have decided to withdraw from some of our smaller services to focus instead on our core business activities, being residential and day services. You listed 6 community-based services that ID Services would exit from. You stated, together these make up only 5% of our business. ID Services supported 6,508 people. A ministry document showed that this affected 1,400 disabled people, equating to 22% of the clients. In late March and early April, ID Services featured in the media. ID Services wanted to consult with affected parties as it would inform the way forward. We will know more after the consultation period. They would have the choice to move. And yet, under an Official Information Act request, I have a copy of your 14 March letter to the Ministry, giving them formal notice that ID Services was exiting the services. My questions to you are, 1, why put out inaccurate and misleading statements via the media, creating a false impression that there was consultation and choice, when in actual fact you had already formally advised the Ministry that you were exiting the services? And 2, how does culling 22% of these vulnerable people with no consultation with the members and stating that they only represent 5% of the business align with a disability charitable trust with a mission statement that states IHC will advocate for the rights, inclusion and welfare of all people with intellectual disabilities and support them to live satisfying lives in the community?
Thank you, Glenn. I can probably answer both questions with one answer, and I'll go back a bit. As I mentioned in my speech, there had been considerable consultation with families over some time. The timing of discussions with the Ministry of Health and discussions with families was a bit unfortunate insofar as it got out of our hands. And it got out of our hands because after consulting with the unions, they went straight out of the meeting and started telling all the staff exactly what we were doing and why we were doing it. And that caused us quite a dilemma in terms of the... Sorry, can I just ask, are you recording this?
I am.
Yeah, it's a public forum. We've had clarification that is able to be recorded.
All right, yep. I just wanted to clarify.
Yep, sure.
So what we had to do was move very quickly. We had to notify the Ministry of Health because the information was moving to the Ministry of Health via informal sources, and we had a responsibility to our staff to tell them what was going on. So what we had was a clash of information that was going to go out to families. We needed to tell the Ministry of Health and advise the Ministry of Health, and we had our staff already aware that we were going to proceed with these changes. Now, when it comes to the 22%, the 22% from my understanding, well, the 5% from my understanding is 5% of revenue, which is what we were going to lose as part of that service. So does that answer your 2 questions?
It does, and it's also unfortunate. Can you just bring up that other one that's going to raise your Trish Grant? Yeah. Sorry, just one moment, Rob. Yeah, no, and thank you for clarifying that. I do appreciate it. And like I do acknowledge that, yeah, the 5% is in terms of revenue, but I also just wanted to refer you to in April 2016, IHC Advocacy commissioned a report, What's Important for Family Wellbeing. And in the report, it basically says families can only thrive if they are connected to, are valued by, and have a sense of belonging to their communities. And in this report, and this was an IHC commissioned report, and in the report it says, you know, what are the things that work well for the families? And it says positive attitudes, belonging and inclusion, and good support and connections. And critically, in this IHC report, commissioned report, it says, you know, in terms of what things don't go well, and it says, what gets in the way, looking at the disability sector through a deficit lens, seeing children with intellectual disability as a drain on time and resources. And with due respect, I think that those people, I think a fair few of them would actually feel like they felt like they were a drain on the resources when you referred to them as being only 5% of the business. And personally, I think that's a somewhat offensive statement, considering that this is a not-for-profit organisation for the disability sector, and to sort of refer to them in terms of revenue stream, in terms of, rather than the actual numbers that are represented to the organisation.
Well, Glenn, that's your view. Our view is that we believe that our communication to all the families was very considerate and accepted. And we always said to the families, nobody will miss out on a service. We were going to work with the families to make sure that there was a continuation of service, and invariably that is exactly what has happened. And we can put our hand on our heart and say, we believe the service that they're going to get from these other providers is going to be of a better quality than we could have possibly provided. And that is the reason why we did it.
Okay, thank you for your response. And so my second question is to you, Donald. Although in some ways it also actually ties in with a comment that Barbara made, and I found it somewhat ironic that when Barbara referred to the fact that she first became involved via the preschool, and one of the services that have been has been extinguished by ID Services was holiday programs. And the reason I say that's unfortunate, and again, this is my opinion, and I appreciate that you may not share this, Mr. Jones, but and again, I'm age 47, and I think one of the problems that IHC has is your demographic is getting older and older, and so, and for me, I feel like there's a sense of rightly or wrongly, that this my view that there is an element of lifting up the ladder. And that some of those people that have got seriously disabled children that are looking after them at home and want to keep them in the community, and to have those access to things like holiday programs, I suspect you probably didn't really fully understand the impact of that. But anyway, but I do appreciate your response. So Donald, the board approved the exiting of these 6 community-based services. Withdrawing these services contradicted the mission statement regarding supporting disabled people living satisfying lives in the community. Now, crucially, under your constitution and rules, sorry, not yours, under IHC's constitution and rules, it says to establish and maintain community-based support services for people with an intellectual disability and their families. And yet the 6 cancelled services are all community-based support services. So my questions to you are, 1, why did the board approve the cancelling of these community-based support services without proper consultation with the members and without first altering the constitution and the rules? And secondly, can you see perhaps why many people increasingly feel that IHC has lost sight of its founding principles and indeed lost its way? And just to give you an example of that, and I definitely understand that accessible properties is ring fence, but 10 days after it was announced that these people were being shown the door and they only represented 5% of the business, it was announced that 1,100 odd houses were being purchased in Tauranga. And I acknowledge that that is ring fence, but it does help to create a perception that, yeah, in my view, I think some people sort of start to question whether IHC has actually lost its way. And even like, and I'll just go one step further in terms of the IHC board, like, I don't know why it can't be like, say, like a board of trustees where the actual members vote, so perhaps, you had a situation where the board was a little bit more reflective of the actual membership, so. But yeah, thanks for hearing my questions.
Thank you for that, Glenn. I'm just not sure what your question was.
So just to clarify, basically, your actual, I suppose the main thing is the actual rules and constitution. So this is like, in effect, it's like our founding document, and it says maintain community-based support services. And yet we've shown 1,400 people the door, and those people, it was all community-based services. And many of those people are going to go on to residential. So in essence, basically, why have you, in my opinion, you had no legal mandate and you certainly had no moral mandate to basically show those people the door, given it's a not-for-profit organisation.
I don't think our constitution ever states that we are responsible for all community-based services. We choose to do some community-based services, and we choose not to do some. We do residential care and vocational services well. We continue to do those. The ones that we exited, which, as Ralph has already said, we chose to exit them because we thought there were other providers who could do a better job in that sector. We have really shown no on the door in terms of they haven't left them with nowhere to go. They have all have somewhere to go in terms of ongoing services, and yeah, just a better provider can do it better.
Yeah.
We are not all things to all people.
Yep. But, and again, I refer back to basically those founding people that basically set up IHC, intellectually handicapped children. The services that you've elected to continue to provide are basically for the adults. And again, and I liken it back to the analogy of pulling up the ladder.
Putting up the ladder in terms of IHC, but not putting up the ladder in terms of service provision for those people. There is still provision for those people with other providers. Just that we chose not to do it because we couldn't do it as well as other providers could do it.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you again. It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you again. It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you again. It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you again. It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you again. It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way